The silver ship appeared in Earth's sky on a Tuesday morning, gleaming against the blue atmosphere like a jewel. For 3 days, it simply waited in orbit while the world below buzzed with excitement and fear.
Ow.
News channels ran endless coverage. Scientists gathered in emergency meetings, and military leaders prepared for every possible scenario. On the 4th day, the aliens made contact. Admiral Cho Min-soo stood in the sterile white conference room, adjusting his uniform one final time. Across from him sat the alien ambassador, a tall creature with gray skin and 4 arms that moved in careful measured gestures. The being called itself Kelthur, and it spoke through a small device that translated its words into perfect Korean. "We greet you, humans of Earth," Kelthur said, its voice carrying no emotion. "We represent the Galactic Council, an organization of 300 civilized species across the galaxy. We have come to offer you membership in our great community." Felt a surge of hope. First contact with aliens, and they were offering friendship. This was better than anyone had dared to dream. He leaned forward eagerly. "We are honored by your offer, Ambassador. What would this membership involve?"
Alper.
So hands moved to a device on the table. A holographic display appeared, showing star charts and what looked like legal documents. The process is simple and standard. Your species will become a client member of the Council. You will provide 30% of your planetary resources to the galactic community. Your government will be supervised by Council representatives to ensure compliance with galactic law. The room fell silent. Min-soo blinked, certain he had misunderstood. "I'm sorry, could you repeat that?" 30% of all resources? Kelthur repeated patiently. "Food, metals, energy, manufactured goods. This is the standard contribution for new member species. In return, you receive protection from hostile forces and access to basic galactic technology." "And our government would be supervised?" asked Dr. Yoon Sira, the chief science advisor who sat beside Min-soo. "Of course, primitive species require guidance to avoid damaging themselves or others. Council representatives will oversee your major decisions to ensure you do not make dangerous mistakes." Min-soo felt his stomach drop. This wasn't an offer of friendship. This was conquest, dressed up in polite language. He looked around the room at his fellow humans, seeing the same realization dawning on their faces. Ambassador Min-soo said carefully, "What happens if we refuse this offer?" Kelthur's head tilted slightly. "Refuse? I do not understand." "This is how all species join the galactic community. There is no alternative. But what if we choose not to join at all?" The aliens for arms moved in what might have been confusion. "That is not possible. All spacefaring species must join the Council. It is galactic law. Species that refuse are considered hostile and are dealt with accordingly." The threat hung in the air like a poison cloud. Min-soo felt anger building in his chest, but he kept his voice steady. "And how many species have been dealt with accordingly?" 17 in the past 1,000 years, Kelthur replied without hesitation. All were primitive species that failed to understand the benefits of Council membership. They were eliminated for the safety of civilized worlds. Dr. Yoon Sira spoke up, her voice shaking slightly. "You're talking about genocide?" "I'm talking about galactic security," Kelthur corrected. "Primitive species that refuse guidance inevitably become threats. The Council has learned this through long experience." Min-soo stood up slowly, his chair scraping against the floor. The sound seemed loud in the quiet room. "Ambassador, I think there's been a misunderstanding. So you're not offering us membership. You're demanding our surrender." "I am offering you the same terms given to all species," Kelthur insisted. "These terms have been accepted by every civilized race in the galaxy." "Then maybe," Min-soo said, his voice growing stronger, "the galaxy needs to meet an uncivilized race." For the first time, Kelthur showed what might have been surprise. Its forearms moved in rapid, agitated gestures. "You cannot be serious. Your species has barely left your own solar system. You have no understanding of the forces that exist in the galaxy." "You're right," Min-soo agreed. "We don't understand galactic forces, but we understand bullies." He walked around the table to face the alien directly. and we've had a lot of practice dealing with bullies. The alien ambassador stood as well, its tall form looming over the human. You would condemn your entire species to destruction over pride? Minsu smiled, and there was something cold in that expression. Ambassador, let me explain something about humans. We don't do well with ultimatums. We don't do well with threats. We especially don't do well with being told we have no choice. Gestured to the other humans in the room. My colleagues and I need to discuss your offer with our government. We'll have an answer for you in 24 hours. Calther's translator device made a series of sharp sounds. There is nothing to discuss. These are standard terms. Accept them or face the consequences. 24 hours, Minsu repeated firmly. As the alien left the room, Dr. Yoon Sira approached Minsu. Admiral, what are we going to do? They're clearly more advanced than us. Their ship alone could probably destroy half our cities. Minsu watched through the window as the alien shuttle returned to its mother ship. Sira, do you remember what my grandfather used to say about the Korean War? She shook her head. He said that when someone tells you that you have no choice, that's when you find out what you're really made of. Minsu turned back to his team. Get me the president. Get me our best military minds. We have work to do. The war room deep beneath Seoul buzzed with activity 24 hours after. The alien ultimatum. Admiral Cho Min-soo stood before a massive holographic display showing Earth's solar system, surrounded by the brightest minds humanity had to offer. The alien ship still hung in orbit like a silver thread against the stars. Status report, Min-soo commanded, his voice cutting through the noise. Captain Park Ji-hoon stepped forward, tablet in hand. Admiral, the good news is, we've been watching them for longer than they think. Our deep space sensors picked up their approach 3 months ago. We've had time to study their technology. Dr. Yoon Sira joined them at the display. The ship's hull is made of some kind of adaptive metal, strong but not indestructible. More importantly, their weapons seem designed for intimidation rather than actual warfare. They're used to species surrendering without a fight. Minsu nodded grimly. What about our own capabilities? That's where it gets interesting, said General Kim Taiwan, the head of Earth's space forces. While they were traveling here, we weren't sitting idle. The Mars colonies have been converted into military production facilities. The asteroid mining operations have been retooled to gather materials for ship construction. On the display, red dots appeared throughout the solar system. Each dot represented a human facility that had been quietly militarized over the past months. The aliens had seen Earth as a primitive world with limited space presence. They had no idea that humanity had spread far beyond their home planet. Show them the ships, Minsu ordered. The holographic display changed, revealing sleek vessels hidden in the asteroid belt behind the moons of Jupiter and in the outer reaches of the solar system. Each ship was smaller than the alien vessel, but there were hundreds of them. Call them wasps, explained Dr. Lee Yoonji, the chief engineer. Fast, maneuverable, and armed with nuclear torpedoes. They're designed to swarm larger targets. Captain Park pulled up another display. But our real advantage isn't the ships themselves, it's the crews. Every pilot is a volunteer who grew up playing space combat games. They think in 3 dimensions. React faster than trained soldiers, and they're absolutely fearless. Minsu walked around the display, studying the deployment patterns. The alien ambassador said 17 species have been eliminated for refusing council membership. We know about those species. Dr. Yoon Sira tapped her tablet, bringing up historical data. We've been analyzing the pattern. Every eliminated species fought conventionally ship to ship, trying to match the council's technology. They all lost because they played by the council's rules. So we don't play by their rules, Minsu said quietly. Exactly, General Kim agreed. The council expects us to either surrender or fight a traditional space battle. They're not prepared for guerrilla warfare in space. The display showed simulation after simulation. Small human ships darting between asteroids, using hit-and-run tactics, disappearing into the vast emptiness of space, only to strike again from unexpected angles. The alien's massive ship, designed to intimidate primitive species, became a slow, vulnerable target. There's something else, Dr. Lee Yunji said, her voice excited. We've been studying their technology from the sensor readings. Their ships are incredibly advanced, but they're also incredibly complex. They rely on automated systems for everything, Minsu asked, meaning they're vulnerable to electronic warfare. If we can disrupt their computer systems, their ship becomes a floating metal coffin. Captain Park Ji-hoon stepped forward. Admiral, we've also been monitoring their communications. They've been reporting back to their superiors regularly. They're confident this will be a routine operation. Let them stay confident, Minsu said with a cold smile. Long until our forces are in position. 6 hours, General Kim replied. The asteroid-based ships are already moving into attack positions. The Mars fleet is preparing to launch. The lunar defense platforms are armed and ready. Dr. Yoon Sira looked worried. Admiral, are we really going to fight them, even if we win? We'll have declared war on an entire galactic civilization. Minsu turned to face his team. Sira, let me ask you something. If we surrender now, what happens to the next species the Council encounters? Do we let them be enslaved because we were too afraid to fight? The room fell silent. Everyone understood the implications. This wasn't just about Earth's freedom. It was about setting a precedent for the entire galaxy. Besides, Minsu continued, who says we're going to stop with just defending Earth? The Council has been bullying species for thousands of years. Maybe it's time someone taught them what happens when you threaten the wrong species. A communication alert chimed. The alien ambassador was requesting another meeting. Minsu straightened his uniform and checked his watch. Time's up, he said. Get me a direct line to the alien ship and activate all defensive systems. As the team dispersed to their positions, Dr. Yoon Sira remained behind. Admiral, what if we're wrong? What if they're too powerful? Minsu looked up at the display showing the alien ship. Then we'll find out what humans are really capable of when they have nothing left to lose. The countdown to humanity's response had begun. The communication channel crackled to life as Admiral Cho Minsu stepped into the same sterile conference room where he had met the alien ambassador 24 hours earlier. This time, however, he was not alone. Behind him stood the entire Earth Defense Council, their faces grim and determined. Ambassador Calther appeared on the main screen, its forearms moving in what seemed like impatience. Admiral Minsu, we trust you have reached the correct decision. Your species will accept Council membership and begin resource transfers immediately. Minsu clasped his hands behind his back, his voice steady and calm. Ambassador, we have indeed reached a decision. Earth respectfully declines your offer of membership. The aliens for arms froze mid-gesture. You cannot be serious, we explained. The consequences of refusal, your species will be eliminated. We understand your position, Minsu replied, and we have prepared our response accordingly. On cue, the lights in the room dimmed, and the large wall display activated, showed a view of space around Earth, with the alien ship clearly visible as a bright silver dot against the stars. Is this? Calthor demanded. This is our answer, Minsu said simply. Suddenly, the space around the alien ship began to change. Small objects appeared from nowhere, emerging from behind asteroids, from the shadows of moons, from the darkness of empty space. Dozens of them. Then hundreds. Calthor's translator device made rapid clicking sounds as the alien spoke urgently to someone off-screen. This is impossible. Our sensors detected no fleet. Where did these ships come from? We've been busy, Minsu replied with a slight smile. While you were traveling here, we were preparing. You see, Ambassador, humans have a saying. Hope for the best. Prepare for the worst. The alien ship began to move, its massive bulk turning slowly as it tried to assess the new situation. But the human ships were already in motion, swarming around the larger vessel like angry insects. You are making a grave mistake, Calthor warned. Our ship is more advanced than anything your primitive species could create. We will destroy your entire fleet, perhaps, Minsu agreed. But you'll have to catch us first. As if responding to his words, the human ships suddenly scattered. Some dove toward Earth's atmosphere, others accelerated toward the outer planets, and still others simply vanished behind chunks of space debris. The alien ship's weapon systems activated. sending bright beams of energy into empty space where human vessels had been moments before. Our pilots grew up playing games in 3 dimensions, Minsu explained conversationally. They think differently than your people. They don't fight like soldiers. They fight like hunters. The first human attack came without warning. A group of small ships emerged from behind the moon, their nuclear torpedoes streaking toward the alien vessel. The aliens' defensive systems destroyed most of them, but 3 got through, exploding against the hull in brilliant flashes of light. Possible, Kelthor muttered, its forearms moving frantically over control panels. Our shields should have stopped those primitive weapons. Nuclear weapons aren't primitive when you use enough of them, Minsu observed, and we have plenty. More attacks came from every direction. The alien ship spun desperately, trying to target the fast-moving human vessels, but they were like trying to swat flies with a hammer. Every time the alien weapons fired, the human ships were already somewhere else. This is madness, Calthor declared. Even if you destroy our ship, the Council will send a fleet to eliminate your species. You cannot win. Maybe not, Minsu admitted, but we can make you pay such a high price that other species will see what happens when the Council threatens the wrong people. The alien ship's hull began to show damage as more human attacks found their mark. Sections of the silver metal were blackened and twisted. Emergency lights flickered along its length. We offer you one final chance, Calthor said, its voice now carrying a note of desperation. Surrender now, and we will show mercy. Continue this futile resistance, and we will ensure your species suffers before it dies. Minsu's expression hardened. Ambassador, let me explain something about humans. We don't surrender, we don't bow down, we especially don't respond well to threats. He stepped closer to the camera. Came here expecting us to be afraid. He thought we would see your big ship and immediately give up. But you made one crucial mistake. What mistake? Calthor demanded. You assumed we were alone. The display changed, showing not just the space around Earth, but the entire solar system. Red dots appeared everywhere around Mars, near Jupiter in the asteroid belt, even in the outer reaches near Pluto. Each dot represented a human installation or ship. We're not a planet-bound species anymore, Ambassador. We're a solar system civilization, and every human in this system is ready to fight for their freedom. The alien ship shuddered as another wave of attacks struck home. This time, the damage was severe enough that parts of the hull began to separate from the main structure. This is your last warning, Minsu said coldly. Leave our system now, or we will show you what happens when you threaten humanity. Calthor's image flickered as the alien ship's systems began to fail. You have doomed yourselves. The Council will never allow this defiance to stand. Then the Council will learn what we've learned, Minsu replied, that freedom is worth fighting for, no matter the cost. The alien ship began to retreat, limping toward the edge of the solar system as human vessels harassed it every step of the way. Humanity had won its first victory, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. 3 months after the alien ship limped away from Earth's solar system, Admiral Cho Minsu stood in the newly constructed command center on Luna Base. The room hummed with activity as hundreds of technicians monitored displays showing the entire galaxy. What they had discovered in those 3 months had changed everything. Admiral, we're receiving another transmission from the Galactic Council, reported Captain Park Ji-hoon, his face grim. They're demanding we surrender immediately or face complete annihilation. Minsu nodded without taking his eyes off the main display. And our response? Dr. Yoon Sira approached from the communication station. The new fleet is ready, Admiral. 2,000 ships across 12 star systems. Every vessel is equipped with the quantum drive technology we reverse engineered from the alien ship. Good, Minsu said quietly. It's time to show the galaxy what humans are really capable of. The main screen activated, showing the face of a different alien than before. This one had blue skin and 6 eyes, all of which stared at Minsu with obvious disdain. I am High Commander Vexkara of the Galactic Council Fleet, the alien announced. You will surrender immediately, or we will demonstrate why no species has ever successfully resisted Council authority. Minsu stepped forward, his uniform crisp and his expression calm. Hi, Commander. I am Admiral Cho Min-soo of the Human Defense Force. Before you make any demonstrations, perhaps you should look around. The alien's 6 eyes blinked in confusion. Look around. What are you talking about? Check your long range. Sensors, Min-soo suggested with a slight smile. All of them. There was a pause as the alien apparently consulted with its crew. Slowly, the confident expression on Vexkara's face began to change. The 6 eyes widened in what looked like shock. That's impossible, the alien whispered. How are you here? We're fast learners, Min-soo replied. 3 months ago, your ambassador told us that 17 species had been eliminated for refusing council membership. We decided to visit some of those worlds. The display changed, showing star maps with red dots scattered across the galaxy. Each represented a human ship, or base, positioned near worlds that had once been home to extinct civilizations. We found their ruins, Min-soo continued, his voice growing colder. We found the records of what you did to them. Entire species wiped out because they refused to be your slaves. Captain Park Ji-hoon stepped forward. We also found something else, High Commander. We found that you're not as strong as you pretend to be. The alien's face showed growing alarm. You cannot have traveled to those systems. The distances are too great for your primitive technology. Primitive. Dr. Yunsera laughed. High Commander, we've been studying your technology for months. Your ships are impressive, but they're also predictable. You've been using the same designs, the same tactics, for thousands of years. While you were getting comfortable, Min-soo added, we were innovating. Human ships don't just travel faster than yours now. They're also completely invisible to your sensors until we want you to see them. As if to prove his point, human ships began appearing throughout the galaxy. They materialized above council worlds, near military bases, around important trade routes. The display showed the alien's home system, where dozens of human vessels had suddenly become visible. You've surrounded our worlds, Vexkara said, its voice barely a whisper. Not surrounded, Min-soo corrected, liberated. We've been talking to the species you've enslaved. Turns out, they're not very happy with council rule. Communication channels suddenly filled with new voices. Aliens of different species began speaking, their translators converting their words into Korean. Yes. The Zephyrians stand with humanity, declared one voice. The Aquatic Collective rejects council authority, announced another. The Silicon Brotherhood joins the Human Alliance, said a third. Vexkara's 6 eyes darted frantically between different displays. This is impossible. You cannot have contacted our member species. You cannot have turned them against us. We didn't turn them against you, Min-soo said quietly. Simply showed them that resistance was possible. We proved that the council could be defeated. The alien commander's composure finally cracked. You don't understand what you've done? The council has maintained galactic peace for 10,000 years. Peace? Captain Park Ji-hoon stepped forward, his voice filled with anger. You call slavery peace? You call genocide peace? High Commander, we've seen your records. We know about the species you've eliminated. We know about the resources you've stolen. We know about the civilizations you've destroyed. And now, Dr. Yunsera added, we're going to do something about it. The display changed again, showing human ships moving into attack formations around key council facilities. But instead of weapons, they were deploying something else entirely. What are those? Vexkara demanded. Information, Min-soo replied. Every crime the council has committed, every species you've enslaved, every world you've destroyed, we're broadcasting it all across the galaxy. The alien's face went pale. Cannot do this. The member species will revolt. That's the idea. Min-soo said with satisfaction. High Commander, you made one crucial mistake when you threatened Earth. You assumed we would fight like every other species you've encountered. You thought we would try to match your technology, your tactics, your rules. He leaned closer to the camera. But humans don't play by other people's rules. We make our own. The communication channel filled with reports of uprisings across the Galaxy Council facilities were being abandoned. Military units were defecting. Entire star systems were declaring independence. The council is finished, Min-soo announced. The question now is whether you want to be part of the solution or part of the problem. Vexkara's image flickered as the alien ship began to retreat. This isn't over, human. The Council will never accept defeat. Then the Council will learn, Minsu replied calmly, that humans are very good at teaching stubborn students. The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Humanity had not just won a battle. They had started a galactic revolution. 1 year after the Galactic Revolution began, Admiral Cho Minsu walked through the corridors of Unity Station, the massive space structure that now served as the headquarters of the Terran Alliance. The station orbited Earth, but it was unlike anything humanity had ever built before. Its halls were filled with beings from dozens of different species, all working together toward a common goal. Admiral called out Dr. Yoon Sira as she approached. From the medical bay, the latest reports from the outer systems are encouraging. The Zephyrian colonies have increased food production by 40% since joining the Alliance. The Aquatic Collective has shared their water purification technology with 6 other species. Minsu nodded, still amazed by how quickly everything had changed in the former Council worlds. Most have requested Alliance membership, reported Captain Park Ji-hoon, joining them at the central observation deck. The ones that haven't are learning to govern themselves for the first time in centuries. It's messy, but they're free. Through the massive windows, Minsu could see ships from across the galaxy docked at the station. Sleek Zephyrian vessels worked alongside bulky Silicon Brotherhood cargo haulers. Aquatic Collective bioships pulsed with bioluminescent patterns next to human military cruisers. It was a sight that would have been impossible just 2 years ago. Any word from the Council? Remnants, Minsu asked. Dr. Yunsar's expression grew serious. Intelligence reports suggest they're regrouping in the Outer Rim. High Commander Vexkara has been gathering loyalist forces. But their numbers are small. Most of their former allies have either joined us or declared neutrality. Let them regroup, Minsu said quietly. They'll find that the galaxy has changed. Species that were once afraid of them are now confident in their own strength. A soft chime indicated an incoming priority message. The holographic display activated, showing the face of Ambassador Colthan, a former council member who had become one of the Alliance's strongest supporters. Admiral Minsu, the alien said. Its tentacles moving in what humans had learned was a gesture of respect. I have news from the Rigel system. Planet Theros has just declared independence from the Council remnants. They're requesting Alliance protection. Theros, Captain. Park Ji-hoon looked surprised. Wasn't that one of the Council's most loyal worlds? It was Colthan confirmed. But they've seen what the Alliance offers. Freedom, trade partnerships, technological sharing, protection without conquest. They want to be part of this new galaxy. Minsu smiled. Grant their request. And make sure they understand that Alliance membership comes with responsibilities, not just benefits. This was the key difference between the Alliance and the old Council. The Council had ruled through fear and exploitation. The Alliance offered partnership and mutual benefit. Species joined because they wanted to, not because they were forced to. Admiral Dr. Yoon Sara said, there's something else. The research teams have made a breakthrough in quantum communication technology. With the combined knowledge of all our member species, we've developed a system that will allow instant communication across the entire galaxy. Instant communication? Minsu raised an eyebrow. That's impossible. Not anymore, Captain Park. Ji-hoon grinned. The Aquatic Collective's understanding of bioquantum fields, combined with Zephyrian crystal technology and human engineering, created something none of us could have achieved alone. This was happening throughout the Alliance. Species that had been isolated under Council rule were now sharing knowledge freely. Scientific advancement had accelerated at an incredible pace. Medical breakthroughs, technological innovations, and cultural exchanges were transforming the galaxy. There's more, Dr. Yoon Sira continued. The archaeological teams have found something interesting in the old Council archives. Records of the species they eliminated over the centuries. Some of them had colonies that escaped the genocide. Minsu's expression grew serious. Survivors. Scattered throughout the galaxy, she confirmed. Small populations that have been hiding for generations, afraid to reveal themselves. Now that the council is gone, they're making contact. The implications were staggering. The council hadn't just oppressed existing species, they had actively worked to prevent diversity and independence. The Alliance was not just freeing current civilizations, but rediscovering lost ones. We need to find them all, Minsu said firmly. Every survivor, every hidden colony, every species that went into hiding. The galaxy is big enough for all of them. A new voice joined the conversation. Admiral, incoming transmission from the Kepler Defense Fleet. The speaker was Lieutenant Commander Lee Minho, a young officer who had grown up during the revolution. Put it through, Minsu ordered. The holographic display showed Commander Zhang Suyang, stationed at the edge of Alliance space. Admiral, we've intercepted Council remnant transmissions. They're planning something big. Intelligence suggests they're trying to contact species beyond our galaxy, looking for allies. Minsu exchanged glances with his team. External threats? Possibly Zhang confirmed. But Admiral, there's something else. The intercepted messages suggest the Council is claiming that humans are the real threat to galactic peace. They're telling. Potential allies that were conquerors disguised as liberators. Captain Park Jahoon shook his head. Same old Council tactics? You can't win through strength, try to win through deception. Let them try, Minsu said calmly. Any species that investigates will see the truth. They'll see free worlds, prosperous trade, and voluntary alliances. They'll see former enemies working together. Dr. Yoon Sarah looked out at the bustling station around them. A year ago, we were a single species facing extinction. We're leading a galactic alliance that spans thousands of worlds. And we're just getting started, Minsu replied. The galaxy is vast, and there are probably thousands of species we haven't met yet. Some will join us, others will remain neutral, and some might even oppose us. But they'll all know one thing. What's that? Lee Minho asked. Minsu smiled, the same expression that had started this whole revolution. That freedom is always worth fighting for, and that humans never give up on their friends. Outside the station, ships from across the galaxy continued their work, building a future that the old Council could never have imagined. The age of galactic tyranny was over. Age of the Alliance had begun.